Review on my 2016 Beta 250 RR. I see there's lots of 300 reviews, but there never seems to be any 250 bikes. So this bike has 1,540 kilometers on it. It's got 34 hours of run time. I've driven it from road riding through to dirt roads, through to single track, the whole works. I bought the bike in June 2016 and absolutely fell in love with it. It's a great motorcycle. Firstly, I'll tell you the stuff that I got with it. When I bought the bike, I made sure that I had a pipe guard. I also went for the rear disc protector. And then with the RR race model, you get the factory Beta FMF exhaust. You get the upgraded suspension, which isn't the Maserachi's, but they're all right. They're a Sash. You get the different graphics. You get the map switch, which you can see right here. And you get the seat cover and a few other little bits. I mostly bought it for the suspension, and I preferred the graphics over the regular model. Also, I'll tell you about some of the issues we've had with it. Not many, just a few things. I bought it in June, rode it probably 3 or 4 separate occasions, and just found that the front suspension was just completely terrible. You just couldn't ride it. It would beat your wrists out and everything else. So what we did was I had my buddy Lauren Banks with B2 Suspension Works redo the front suspension. We went to a 2.5 weight oil, and we went up 1 C-clip on the preload. Seemed to make the bike better, but it's still not as plush as I would like the front end to be. So we're going to pull the suspension apart again, get another ring milled into the chamber so we can go 1 more click softer on the preload. Also, I've had some issues with the rear shock. Nothing major, just seems to be the valving. It's not quite responsive enough for what it should be. I've got it completely strapped down, full hard on compression and rebound, and I still can't seem to get the back to stop pogoing. I went to a 2 sizes stiffer rear shock than stock. Or sorry, not shock, spring. And that really helped the ride of the bike. Got it much more level. Other than that, I mean, I haven't had many issues. I had 1 warranty issue was the wiring harness. The 2016s, the way they did it with the stock wiring harness was all the grounds went into 1 big clip. And what happens over time is the clip sits right in here, and when you're turning your bars, there used to be a way to mount it here and then run underneath, and the clip was right on the mount and right on the bend. So 10 hours of riding, I'm out riding with my girlfriend and just getting this massive vibration, or what I thought was a vibration, through the bars. So the first thing I did was I got a hold of my local dealer and I bought a set of these KTM Power Parts PTD whatever vibration reducers and risers. I also went to a twin wall bar and still was getting this vibration. So turns out it wasn't a vibration at all. It was actually a shock, and the shock was actually coming from the lighting. So there was a short in the actual wiring harness from the power for the lights up and through to the bars, and what was actually getting my shock was the front brake pressure switch was running the electrical current into the bars, and it was just absolutely shocking you through the bars. You couldn't ride it. It was that bad. So we tried everything. When I took it into the dealer, they helped me out. We put newer 216 wiring harness on the bike. No issues. But what we did do was we ordered the revised style 217 harness, and that's what I'm about to put on the bike shortly. The bike's been excellent. It runs really well. The motor's nice. Like I said, I've got 34 hours on it, and I mean, I ride it on the bar all the time. So a few things for the 2017 season we're going to be doing is changing the gearing. The stock gearing is a little tall. The way it sits right now, I do about 140 kilometers an hour, which is just too fast. I can't seem to stay in second gear in some of the tight single track where I would like to be, and I've got to go down to first gear, and I'm going to change the gearing up a little bit, probably go to 1452 rear sprocket and buy a 13 front sprocket for those days where we're basically being pack mules and climbing through the crap and through the side hills. Fuel mileage is great for what it is. It's a small tank. It's a 9.5 liter tank. I can get about 120 kilometers out of the tank, which is fine by me. By then it's time to refuel and have a break anyways. What I did for jetting was I left the jetting stock, but I went to the RM250 needle, same one everybody uses in their KTMs. And that really improved the bike, its crispness and everything else. And I've played with the power valve a little bit, and other than that I haven't done very much. I've just ridden it. Power wise, I don't know, this is my first 250. This is my first two-stroke, I should say. I'm a 450 guy. I've had a CRF 450 for 5 or 6 years, and it was just too much in the woods, so I decided to go to something like this. And it was a very good improvement. They say the Beta has about 56 horsepower stock, which is true. It's got lots of power. I would wish that it would have a little more torque, but what we're going to do is we're going to put the thinner base gasket in it for now, and I'm going to redo the rings as well, just because I want to tear it apart and have a look. And I think I'm one of the only people with this many hours on one bike. So it'll be interesting to see how it's holding up and whatnot. I only use Shell V-Power, and I mix it with the AMSOIL Intimidator, and I run 50 to 1, and I've had no issues. I run it a little more fat when we're out riding. We've got a grass track here in town, and it's probably a 2-minute loop, and it's in a big field, and you're wide open everywhere. So I run a little fatter than, just a little more insurance so that it's not going to blow up. Other than that, I've had no issues. You can see, I mean, the plastics are holding up great. None of the stickers have peeled off. A little bit of dirt coming through on the seat cushion, but it's not terrible. The stock grips, they're holding up great. I put a set of bark busters on it, the Zeta style. I had good luck with those on my last bike, so we moved them over to this bike. Same brake pads with 30 hours. I'm seeing a little bit of wear in the actual rotor itself, not the pad. But like I said, the grass track is really hard on parts and motorcycles. So I think the brake pads stock are just a little too stiff or a little too firm at the compound, because it is eating the rotor. Probably about 2 mils worn off that rear rotor now. So I'm probably going to go to a softer EBC style rear brake pad and just change it more often. You know, the main things that are showing some wear now, and I mean, it's not even really wear. The pipe guard's got a little bit of a few smucks on it, but that's all right. That's why it's there. The frame protectors are holding up really well. A little bit of scratches on the covers, a little bit of wear here. I had a hard time figuring out a foot position for the rear brake that I enjoyed, so I frigged with that for quite a bit, but now I've got it set perfect. Fork guards are holding up. There's a few little nicks and whatnot in the forks from running behind the big 4-strokes and catching roost, but nothing major. The front disc's holding up excellent. No wear really at all. I put a set of the Bulletproof Design grad guards on it when I bought it as well. They're fantastic. I've actually been off this bike twice pretty hard, and absolutely no bending or any of the sorts. Also, I had a little issue with the shifter itself, so I went to a, can't remember what the brand is, tip. I had to modify it to work, but I found the stock tip was too short, and that I couldn't really get a good spot on my boot. So I was missing shifts. It was either too high or too low, but now with this new tip, there's a little bit of adjustment in it, and it's excellent now. It's going to need a chain sprockets for the 217 season, so that's why we're going to make the change to a 1452. And I'm going to go with the TM Designs rear chain guide. This one, the stock one's worn out. Not totally worn out, but probably won't make another season. Also, I went to the tubeless for the wheels. Love them. Well, you can see a little bit of damage here, but that was self-inflicted. Slow wheelie gone wrong. I got a new fender for it and graphics. But like I was saying, I went to the tubeless style wheels, and I love them. I bought it through a local dealer here in town, and I'll never go back to regular tubes. This is excellent. So overall, the bike has been excellent. I've had no major issues, small things. The dealership really worked with me on the wiring harness, which was great. You know, there was no questions asked. Here's one for now, and we'll get you a 17 ASAP. So that showed up. It's in the bag with the new white fender, and so we're gonna put that on, do the rings, do the base gasket, maybe do the chain sprockets, and that's about it. We're gonna ride her for another year and see, you know, how many hours we can put on it before we have any major issues. I'm curious to see, but so far the bike's been dead reliable and an excellent motorcycle and a joy to ride. So a big shout out to my buddy Lauren Banks with B2 Suspension Works. He did all the suspension work. He's going to do some more for me this winter. We're going to redo the rear suspension, the rear shock itself. We're going to revalve the compression and the rebound. And we're going to pull the front apart and take it to a local machine shop and get them to machine another ring so we can put the clip in for a little less preload in the front end. Other than that, you know, thank you to Clay's Off-Road here in Moncton, New Brunswick. It's where I bought the bike. It's where I've had it serviced and got all the warranty work done. It's been great. And thanks, guys. Cheers.